fine. What have you heard?
Now you're poking fun at it. So now it's just a big joke? This whole thing's a joke? So it's absolute cringeworthy and they should be ashamed.
Blake Lively couldn't hold it together on SNL after Ryan Reynolds completely embarrassed himself on live TV in the most jaw-droppingly cringeworthy way imaginable. Blake had been meticulously preparing the perfect sob story for months, playing the victim like she was aiming for an Oscar, only for everything to unravel in the most spectacularly awkward fashion.
Did Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively make their first public appearance at Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary? They made a joke about it all.
But thanks to Ryan's epic self-sabotage, the entire act crumbled on live TV, leaving Blake to pick up the pieces. If you're wondering exactly what went wrong this time, let me break it all down for you from the very beginning. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds made their grand entrance at the SNL 50th anniversary event, posing for the cameras as if nothing was amiss. This marked their first public appearance since Justin Baldoni sued them for $400 million, yet they carried themselves like it was just another night out. Blake dazzled in a silver floral gown, exuding confidence, while Ryan kept it classic in a black tux. However, their body language spoke volumes, revealing more than their carefully chosen outfits ever could.
Wait. Why? What have you heard?
Blake couldn't help but keep a close eye on Ryan, already preparing herself for the inevitable moment he'd say something ridiculous. He always does. The show kicked off, jokes were flying, and then the hosts turned their attention to Ryan.
Wait. Why? What have you heard?
It was a basic, harmless question, but Ryan somehow turned it into a problem. He could have said anything, played it safe, dodged the moment, or at the very least kept quiet. But no, instead, he went for sarcasm. The second Amy Poehler and Tina Fey asked him the question, he smirked and fired off a loaded one-line.
I love the acting. She's really good. What? Have you heard something? Have you heard something? Even Steven Spielberg's kind of like, okay, what? Now, something else, definitely, people laughed at it. It got some laughs.
Just like that, the entire atmosphere changed. The audience laughed, but it wasn't because it was genuinely funny. It was that uncomfortable laugh, the kind that masks secondhand embarrassment. Everyone in that room knew exactly what had been going on. The lawsuit, the headlines, the PR nightmare that had been trailing Blake and Ryan for months.
It got some laughs. A little uncomfortable from Anna Taylor, and then Kevin Costner just didn't react at all.
And the one person who wasn't laughing? Blake Lively. Her face said it all the moment those words left Ryan's mouth. She turned to him, her eyes sharp, her expression frozen. It wasn't subtle. It was the kind of look that screamed, asterisk, are you seriously doing this right now, asterisk, because if there was one thing Blake wanted to avoid, it was their lawsuit drama becoming fodder for SNL material.
Ryan used his nice pool character in Deadpool and Wolverine to mock Justin Baldoni.
But Ryan? He didn't care. This is what he does. He turns real-life disasters into punchlines. When the lawsuit first hit the headlines in December 2024, did Ryan step back and handle it with maturity? No. Did he publicly support Blake in any real way? Also, no. Instead, he turned Justin Baldoni into a joke in Deadpool.
There is no question that, yes, Ryan Reynolds based his Deadpool Wolverine character, Nice Pool, with the man bun, on Justin Baldoni.
A new character, named Asterisk Nice Pool Asterisk, just so happened to resemble Baldoni. Same soft-spoken personality, same over-the-top feminist branding, same empty male ally energy. The character preached about toxic masculinity while being treated as an absolute joke. And if that wasn't obvious enough, Ryan even threw in a pregnancy-related jab, something Baldoni is famously outspoken about.
Really, dude? It's so petty. It's like if he really did all the things say it was what to your wife. It just feels too jokey.
Baldoni's team immediately caught on. They knew exactly what Ryan was doing. This wasn't just a harmless Deadpool gag, it was a very public, very deliberate mockery. And now, months later, Ryan was doing it again, except this time, it was live on national television, with Blake right there, caught in the middle. The moment
Deadpool
Ryan
Wolverine,
made that
you
joke,
Deadpool
the energy
Wolverine
in the
to, like,
room shifted.
mock this guy
Even
in the film that your wife
SNL
agreed with,
hosts
didn't get along with.
hesitated, unsure
so
whether they
hard to
should
process.
laugh or just pretend it never happened. While Ryan was out there cracking jokes, everyone in that audience knew the lawsuit was anything but funny.
Yeah, okay. Well, my question is that, you know that the materials that they made the cone heads with, are those edible?
No, and based on them being made in 1975, I'd assume that they're highly toxic.
Instead of reading the room, Ryan doubled down. Because what's the best way to deflect from a massive legal scandal? Apparently, a conehead's joke out of nowhere. He completely switched topics, hoping to steer the conversation in a different direction.
So if somebody, hypothetically took a couple of nibbles backstage and, got excited, should they go to the hospital or should they?
Yes, they should go to the hospital right away.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah, well, it wasn't funny. The only thing that was funny was the fact that he, made a point.
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler played along, but it was clear the moment was forced. Tina shot back, no, and based on them being made in 1975, I'd assume they're highly toxic. Ryan, keeping the bit going, pretended to be concerned. Oh, okay, so if someone you know hypothetically took a couple of nibbles backstage, should they go to the hospital? Without missing a beat, Amy replied, yes, they should go to the hospital immediately.
He kind of had to being there, which makes me realize and think this is all orchestrated and planned. This was his WME and people getting in and giving Lauren Michaels and Saturday Night Live sort of the opportunity to get them there first, sort of address it.
And just like that, the conversation moved on. The lawsuit was buried, the tension pushed aside. The audience laughed, but not because the joke was funny. They laughed because they didn't know what else to do.
She's never hosted. He's never hosted. He appeared once as a guest star. The fact that they're there to me on this show of all shows felt very forced.
And our poor Blake Lively, who had spent years carefully crafting her image as America's sweetheart, charming and adored by Hollywood, watched it all crumble in a single moment. It wasn't an explosive lawsuit, a leaked scandal, or a career-ending revelation. It was one careless sentence, caught on camera, delivered with the kind of arrogance the internet never forgets.
And Kirsty just wanted to ask Blake Lively a question about, first and foremost, Blake Lively was pregnant while she was filming this. So she opens up with just a nice compliment about her cute little bump.
It happened at a New York press junket for It Ends With Us, a film already drowning in controversy. This was supposed to be a PR win, a way for Blake to remind the world that she was still the face of a powerful female-led project.
congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump? You've got two nice ones. Hi, these. They are kind of bumps, aren't they?
And then Kirsty D. Flaw happened. A veteran Hollywood journalist, respected, sharp, and completely unaware that she was about to become the catalyst for Blake's worst PR disaster yet. Sitting across from Blake, she smiled and offered what should have been a harmless, supportive remark. First of all, congrats on your little bump. It was polite, friendly, nothing out of the ordinary. But Blake's reaction, immediate and brutal.
The reporter did not have a baby bump. She wasn't pregnant, and apparently it had a history of difficulty in getting pregnant, which is why generally you just stay far away for something like that.
That she's already kind of like, oh, why are you asking me about my bump? Like, how dare you do that? As if this woman meant any harm in it. Just like she looks cute, she has a bump. But, this was in 2016. I would say that modern feminism peaked in 2016. Like, women were just doing things,
Her smile disappeared, her body stiffened, and without missing a beat, Blake fired back, congrats on yours. The room froze. Kirsty blinked, caught completely off guard, and that's when it hit. She wasn't pregnant. And worse, she had publicly spoken about her struggles with infertility.
So that's your brain on modern feminism. You get asked the question, you're immediately offended because, of course, they would never ask this to a man. The woman's like, yeah, no, I would ask that to a guy because, yeah, that makes sense. Here's your brain when you don't suffer from that and you're just a guy and you just think logically and try to, I guess, come up with the answer.
Within minutes, the clip went viral. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform ripped into Blake. She had spent years being admired, envied even, but this was plain cruelty. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a conscious decision to humiliate someone in front of cameras. The internet saw it for what it was.
Ironically, she's trying not her hardest in that interview not to be a woman when she's asked that question, like, you can't ask me about pregnancy, you can't ask me about outfits.
Kirsty responded quickly. On July 15th, 2024, she released a statement confirming what everyone had already suspected. This wasn't just a slip-up, it was humiliating. She opened up about her years of struggling to have children and how Blake's words felt like a punch to the gut. In TRO 20, and just to clear up any conspiracy theories, Kirsty made it very clear she had no connection to Justin Baldoni, Blake's lawsuit, or any of the Hollywood drama. She wasn't some paid-off media puppet trying to smear Blake's name. She was just a journalist doing her job. And Blake? She went out of her way to embarrass her.
And so this woman came out and said, yeah, I almost literally quit my job because, by the way, that wasn't the only time that she had interviewed her. She interviewed her for also a simple favor. She was similarly rude. And I think that in her modern feminist mind, she thinks that when she's being rude, she's taking a stance for women, and she's not.
That was the moment everything changed. The internet turned on Blake Lively like never before. This wasn't about "it ends with us." It wasn't about Baldoni. It was about who Blake really was behind the perfect PR mask. People who had never cared about the lawsuit suddenly had a reason to hate her. The headlines weren't about her case anymore. They were about her character. It wasn't a debate of who's lying anymore. It was, has Blake Lively always been this awful?
Flaw responded afterwards saying that this whole thing got, publicized, your lawsuit, saying she is in no way connected to any attempt to smear Blake Lively. She doesn't know PR people involved in this, and she said as follows.
But Blake wasn't just losing the public, she was also losing control. While social media dragged her, her PR team launched a full-scale attack on Justin Baldoni. If they couldn't win on truth, they were going to win with smears. Enter Stephanie Jones and Leslie Sloan, two of Hollywood's most powerful publicists. These women had built entire careers out of cleaning up celebrity scandals. But this time, their job wasn't saving Blake, it was destroying Baldoni.
I had a bad experience with Blake Lively. At the time, I kind of had enough of Hollywood. I wasn't afraid of being canceled anymore, so I posted the video. So that one, which I think is the most famous example, Brian, the journalist herself is saying she had absolutely no connection to Justin Baldoni or these PR agents that we've been discussing.
By August 2024, the smear campaign was in full motion. Anonymous sources began coming forward, and major publications ran hit pieces on Baldoni overnight. The story shifted. Justin wasn't just a director anymore, he was a problem. He was controlling, difficult to work with, maybe even abusive. Some articles even hinted at new allegations, despite no actual claims being filed. The goal was clear: make him look guilty, whether he was or not.
I would say all of it got generated. Since I've been involved in this case, I've got either texts or emails or things from my firm's website, more than 50 actually. This was my experience.
But this wasn't just a whisper campaign. It was a full-on media takedown. The real bombshell came when the New York Times jumped in. A prestigious, respected publication suddenly ran a pro-Blake article, treating her claims as absolute fact. At first, it looked like a major win for Blake. The Times was siding with her. That alone should have been enough to sway public opinion. But then Baldoni's team fought back.
We weren't allowed to talk to her on the show. We weren't allowed to ask for an autograph. We were, instructed, this way, that. We were treated like this. I mean, these things aren't coming because we're doing an investigation. These are completely organic. These are based on people's real life experiences.
On September 4th, 2024, Baldoni's lawyers released a massive collection of receipts, emails, text messages, internal documents. They exposed everything. They linked multiple anonymous sources directly back to Blake's PR team and revealed that the New York Times had selectively edited text messages to make Baldoni look worse. And just like that, the entire campaign collapsed.
In fact, we've come across times that, shows that even her own representative knew that she was threatening and mean and tough and wanted to get her way.
Hollywood panicked. Executives who had once stood by Blake suddenly weren't answering her calls. Co-stars who had once defended her went silent. Publications that had backed her lawsuit now refused to cover the case at all. It wasn't just that Blake was losing public support, she was losing Hollywood itself.
The Baldoni cut scored significantly higher than Blake Lively's. Still, Blake Lively's cut was the one that was chosen. He still didn't do anything publicly.
One particularly damaging revelation for Lively involves a resurfaced interview from 2009 in which she admitted to poisoning her Gossip Girl co-stars against actor Penn Badgley. In the interview, Lively confessed that she was initially upset about Badgley's casting and influenced the cast's perception of him, only to later acknowledge his genuine character. This disclosure has reignited discussions about Lively's on-set behavior and has been cited by Baldoni's legal team as part of a pattern of manipulative conduct.
We have a source that tells us that some of the cut that she had was some of Baldoni's version in it. I mean, in June of 2024, Blake Lively took over the marketing for the film. Again, there's nothing nothing negative in the press or anything else like that.
The cumulative effect of these events is a discernible distancing by Hollywood from the once revered couple. Industry events that previously welcomed Lively and Reynolds with open arms are now marked by a noticeable absence of invitations. Projects that seemed tailor-made for their involvement are proceeding without them. This professional isolation suggests that the couple's influence and appeal are waning, a stark contrast to their prior status as a power duo in the entertainment world.
Since I've been involved in this case, I've got 50 either texts or emails or things from the firm's website, more than 50 actually. This was my experience with Lively.